Welcome to the Human Conversation podcast with Jules White, the real dragon slayer, author and entrepreneur sales coach. Tune in weekly for human conversation about business and sales. Enjoy business expert interviews, educational episodes, and virtual cuppas with entrepreneur business owners. So grab yourself a cuppa and enjoy. Here is your host, Jules White.
Welcome everybody to the Human Conversation. I've got a beautiful lady with me today. She is called Janine Capaldi and she's from Capaldi Marketing. She is the director there. And I'm so happy to have you here, Janine. We've met on LinkedIn, but we are literally down the road from each other and we still haven't met, have we?
I know, must be about 25-30 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so you're just down the road in Hertfordshire. You run this fabulous business. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll go deeper and have a fabulous human conversation.
Sure. Good. I'm looking forward to it. So I run Capaldi Marketing. It's a lead generation agency, for want of a better description. So we work with different kinds of organisations, usually B2B, and then we do work with a number of non-profits on generating leads for their business through various ways. Typically, we work a lot on LinkedIn and showing people how to make the most out of LinkedIn, not limited to LinkedIn. And we provide either in-house services, training, coaching on individuals, a whole mix. But what brings it together is generating targeted business leads. And when I say we, I run it with my husband, which has a whole host of interesting dynamics, I guess I could say. But yeah, it's we've been going for about 3 years now. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And of course, I was actually going to say, and who do you run the business with? And of course, you've told us. And it's interesting because I run a business with my husband. Unfortunately, he's my ex-husband now. And I don't want to sort of make any references in that direction. But, I did run a business with him for a long time. And do you know what? We worked beautifully together. Actually, we worked better together than we were actually married because our skill sets were slightly different. So actually, we really complemented each other. I found that he was very much 3 years ahead on the next big idea. And then I was the one who went, what should we do now then? Should we sell this now? Should we do this now? And so we had this wonderful synergy because of that. And it did work. We just couldn't be married to each other, which was the sad bit. So how does it work for you and Jamie?
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's always easy. I think that we've certainly got a flow now that works much better than it did when we first started. I think because we'd never done it before. We've been together 15 years, married 5, worked together for 3. So it was a very, very, very new element to what we were doing. But I think that I guess like you, we've got our own skill sets and they're very different. And they do complement each other and allow us to have really frank conversations about certain decisions we're making and our opinion on certain things. So for that it's great. I think the one thing that increasingly is important, which has been difficult over the last few months, is the boundaries between work, husband and wife, mum and dad, and that can get very quickly and easily blurred. So I think that's the one thing that is important to both of us, to know that we've maintained those boundaries, because you can't. It's not that easy to come home at the end of the day and have a moan to your husband about how someone really got on your nerves at work because it was him.
I love that. That's so funny, isn't it? But it is an interesting subject. I want to just explore it just a little bit more, because it is so interesting. You are a husband and wife, your business partners, your parents. You have 3 really different roles there that you have to work with.
Yeah.
What's the kind of one tip, do you think, that you would give anyone if they asked you about creating those boundaries? What is it that you do that helps?
Yeah, and I guess I say this as the, like, we don't always get this right, so I guess
No.
it's not all right, but when it's working well, you think I can see how that happens. I think the most important thing is to still have the space from each other. So just because you are working together doesn't mean that you have to be in each other's pockets working on every single thing all of the time. So I think that I guess that's the tip I would give, is that you've got to be realistic. You are going to be spending a lot of time together, and you're going to be making very different decisions depending on what's going on, whether you're just talking about making dinner or something you've got to decide about that, one of the kids is playing up, and how do you deal with that? Or you've got something coming from a client and you want to make the most out of it, and you really want someone's insight. I think that you've almost got to, the thing that's worked well is almost like when you book time in with each other for certain things rather than interrupting each other's flow. I think that's where it can really cause like a tension. Whereas I think if you can be respectful of each other's time and what's going on for each other, then you'll have some decent conversations rather than irritable ones, I suppose.
It's a really good point though, Janine, because I think about the fact that, well, firstly, I never book any me time, and I'm sort of doing this on my own. And so I've started to put in my diary me time. Because if I didn't put it in my diary, I actually wouldn't take it. It's not booked out. Someone else is going to get in there and it's going to take up my time. That was one thing. But also this whole point of, just because you're married and maybe you're working out of home, which a lot of us have been doing anyway with pandemic, doesn't mean to say you don't respect each other's time. And as you say, in an office, you would have to book in a meeting or an appointment with a colleague, wouldn't you? So I love that you have got that as perhaps a thing that you do. I think it's interesting. Sam will come in the middle of the day and he'll say, oh, mum, like this. And I said to him once, because I was right in the middle of something, I said, oh, Sam, do you know what? I said it nicely. I said, you know what? I said, I know I'm not in an office, so I'm not here, but I'm still working. I said, and sometimes it might feel like I'm ignoring you, but it's because I'm right in the middle of doing something, because he thinks I'm sitting here, I might be on the settee or at the breakfast bar. It's interesting dynamics, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think that the benefit for us too is that we both get it, we both understand it. And I think that all the the lockdown shenanigans started happening, I felt like we had such a huge head start on a lot of our a lot of our friends and a lot of our family that were going through the same kind of thing, who were they'd never worked alongside each other. Okay, they weren't working together, but they were working alongside, having to split childcare, having to split work time, having to scheduling meetings. It was it's so intense. Whereas Jamie and I were like, okay, well, we've done this for a few years now, so you take this time, I'll take this time, I'll have the kids, you do that, So it's those boundaries are really important, and we certainly haven't managed to sort that out with the children. We still get, even today, I have my laptop slammed down as I left the game of what was it, lizards versus crocodiles, I think, and was told no, this is not happening right now. All right.
Okay, then, yeah. This is real life, isn't it? This is real life as an entrepreneur. I love it, Janine. Okay, well, look, I love that we touched on that sort of stuff, because I think sometimes people don't talk about it, and there'll be a lot of people working from home. Even if they're not running a business together, they might be running two businesses from the same house. It's the same kind of principles, isn't it, really? So thank you for your insights, because I hope that might help some of our listeners. It's interesting stuff, isn't it? I want to find out where it all started with Janine. So you're running this fabulous business, which I know you've got a great business. We'll talk more about that. But where did you start in your career? What happened for you?
Yeah, it's funny that I think of it as a career, because I think until we started our business, I didn't really feel like I had a career at all, if I'm honest. I always liked the work that I did, but I never felt it it was always part of my life and what I did and how I spent my time. Ultimately, what I wanted was to, I always wanted to have a family, and I had these visions of, when I have my children, my life will be complete. I'll be, it'll all be done. And I love them, absolutely. But if anything, it made me go the other way, where I was like, no, I need things for me. It was, I don't know why, but it was just something that I couldn't see beforehand.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of my background, I've always been in events and conferences, exhibitions, organising big events. Where I used to run events for the Guardian, and then I moved into kind of charity sector and worked primarily in education. And then I started coaching training. So that must have been like 2010, something like that. I really got a taste for the personal development side, and then I did a further 4 years of psychotherapy training, convinced I was going to come out of this a psychotherapist, and then realising I was not going to be a psychotherapist. I just loved all of the knowledge I gained about people, how we might be thinking, how we might be feeling, what we might say or do that could have lasting effects on someone else without even knowing it. Like thinking about, what we've been told as children, or what we've perceived we've been told as children, to how that has led us to where we were. And I think actually that's why I didn't really ever think of myself as having a career, because, I've got two incredibly nurturing parents, one of which has always been, it's kind of been more about playing it safe, being comforted, being comfortable. And so I think that's probably why I kind of just ticked along. I always did fine, but I just ticked along. Yeah. And I think going through all of that personal development training made me think, no, I don't want to just tick along. That's not who I'm going to be now. I'm going to be someone that achieves and does more and does it for themselves and isn't quite so scared to do whatever it might be. And that's where it all came from, really. Like, it was my coaching background, Jamie's marketing and sales expertise, put together, tested out one too many times. Actually, no, this is what works now.
I love how you sort of had this kind of discovery, that there's something more. That's really quite fascinating, isn't it? And you're absolutely right that all of that training has undoubtedly helped you in what you're now doing in business. Same with me, where, I love people, and I guess that's my driver with my sales coaching and how I do it, is because it's all about humans and people, and that's my focus. And I know you think the same as me in that respect, because we're very aligned, aren't we? So it's really lovely. But so, this sort of, I've not had a career as such is well, not quite true, really, Janine, let's face it.
It's not. But I guess I never really, I just never valued it. I think maybe that was what it was. I never really saw what I was doing as significant or important. And it was probably because I wasn't truly doing what I was best at, perhaps.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. And when you mentioned as well, it really resonated with me about, just wanting to have that family, and you thought once that happened, that would be it, your life would be complete. And then needing more once you got there, because it's like anything, we don't know what it feels like until we become parents. You can't tell anyone, can you, Janine? You can't tell them about the love, the deep love that you've given. But the other side of that, for me and many other women, I think, and maybe even men as well, let's bring them into this too, was the loss of identity. So suddenly you become your child's mum, like Sam's mum, as opposed to Jules. And that was a really big thing for a lot of people I met when I had my first business. So did you get that feeling as well?
Yeah, totally. I think there was a lot that I blocked out on the run up, I think, to having my first son Leo, because I just thought, that I don't really need to worry. I don't need to bother with that. Like, I'll be fine with that. And actually, all the things that I didn't really address, like the lack of sleep, like the constant attention, like, whether you're weighing up going out for a walk or napping, because there's no way you can possibly do both. Well, you can after a while, but at that point I just couldn't get my head around it. like they were all things that kind of came at me, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't really know who I am and what's happening now. And I mean, I was really fortunate that I'd found very quickly a group of other mums that were all had children at the same, they had their children at the same time as me. They were right in the middle of their career, and they were not going to stop. And that to me was really encouraging. It almost like it for me, it almost went from finding it intimidating, I guess, to then using it to fuel what I wanted as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I certainly did feel that for a while. Not at all with the second one. I think I got into it by then, and I was just,
You're a pro.
Yeah.
Pro by then, weren't you?
Yeah, although there's no way I'd have another one.
No, two is, that's it. Yeah,
it would all go completely downhill after that. That's for sure. But yeah, I did find that, and it took a long time to piece it back together. And I really do feel for my friends now that are just having children now, because I can see them going through it, and I don't think they quite believe me that you do come out of it. But you do come out of it, but I don't think some of them are quite there yet. I think they're just like, I don't believe it because it's not happened yet.
Yeah, no, you definitely come out of it. You become, it becomes your life, so you adjust again. It's like all these comfort zones, isn't it? Each time you step out of them, then that becomes the new comfort zone.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
It's that stuff, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So
tell me a bit more about your business, because obviously you've got a fabulous little business there with Jamie, and you talk about lead generation. I want to ask you about pandemic, because obviously, if anyone's listening in 2 years' time, we're kind of still in it here right now, aren't we, Janine? Our children are probably going back to school next week. I say probably because who knows? But yeah, we think so.
I'm keeping everything crossed in the nicest way.
But we've been through a really interesting and strange and challenging year. So how has it been for you with your business going through this year?
Yeah, it's I am exhausted. The logistics of it all have been exhausting. The growth and how the business has been, we've been very fortunate. That hasn't stopped, and if anything, we've had more conversations and more people wanting to talk to us. They've had time to take stock and reflect and look at things that they can do that is going to drive more conversations ultimately for a lot of people. And so from that side of things, it's been really positive. The challenge has been managing that alongside the fact that we've been working ridiculously reduced hours while we've got the children, or working late, so when you just want to go to bed. So that has been a challenge, kind of like managing that. And what I guess the other thing, and there's there's been one arm of it, so the training side, which definitely took a bit of a dip at first because people just weren't talking about it. So I think, like a lot of businesses, you have conversations flowing, you have proposals almost ready to get signed off, and then actually, everything's on hold for the moment. So we've not avoided things entirely, but what we have done is we just didn't stop. We never made those assumptions of no one's going to buy, no one wants to talk, or it's too sensitive an issue. What we did is we took what was going on and used that to create our conversations, rather than trying to avoid it and pretend everything's okay. We used it to start honest conversations with people, and I think that's the thing that's been, that the fact that we didn't take the foot off the pedal in our own business development has been what has been successful.
I think what's happened that I've seen is people have either gone into panic and desperation mode selling in this horrible pushy way again, the kind of 80s style-y. It's made me shudder, some of the stuff I've seen coming through. Or like you say, they've gone into hibernation and said, well, we can't really sell at the moment. You just can't sell, can you, with what's going on? And I think your approach is perfect in that it's about having conversations. That's what we have to do. We have to meet our customers and clients where they are now.
Exactly.
And they'll all be different. Much as we said at the beginning, we're all in this together. And I said that too, because I was like, well, we are. But actually, I think I described it in a webinar once that we were in different ships in the same storm.
Yeah.
Because that was probably a really good way to analyze it. So I love that approach that you've had. I mean, I personally lost a chunk because of public speaking and workshops, which I'm sure you would have seen as well. But I flipped onto line, I put stuff online as quick as I could. I bet you did that too, didn't you, Janine?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we were fortunate in that a lot of our work is online, and we do a lot of our training online anyway. I love the way that you can work with people in that capacity, in that you can be, you could be with them for a couple of hours, but over a period of, a month or so, as opposed to just like, right, you've just got me for a day and I'll see you later. I love it that you can be with somebody or a group of people as they continue to grow and develop, and you're there for them, for questions and accountability. And so I think because it's much easier, I guess, to be able to talk to them about that way when you truly believe that it's the best option anyway. So that has been great and just lovely for me, because you get to spend all this time with people. But I think, what you said about, just finding people where they are at, you just don't know. And so, I think, so I could make an assumption, and my assumption might be right, that they can't do anything right now, but that could have happened anyway. And actually, all I want to do is have a conversation, very transparently, to find out more about them, to tell them more about me, and see if there's any fit either now for the future, whatever that may be. It's like you said, we are all going through the same thing, but everybody's experiences are really different. For Jamie and I, it's incredibly full on. For my sister, she owns a beauty salon, and she had to shut the entire business down, and has still got team on furlough. Everyone's got their different version of events, haven't they?
Yeah, it's really sad for your sister as well, because that industry, there's a few industries have been hit very, very hard. I was in the venues industry, so I was a head of sales in a venue, and I do sometimes look and think, gosh, what would that be like now for me? Maybe I might have actually lost my job for all I know. You just don't know, do you? So blessed to be where I am and enjoying actually this journey in my business, because like you, I've been busy. I've had to adapt, and I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year. None of us do, but it's about that attitude and keeping positive and just believing in what you do, I think. And I see that a lot in you, in how you work,
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I've had, we have definitely had our wobbles. I got told off in no uncertain terms a week or so ago for moping. I have gone very up and down at certain points, and sometimes I haven't been able to really, put my finger on what the root cause of it is, other than just you're consumed by everything that's going on for you, for other people. Being open to problem solving and finding solutions and stuff, it doesn't mean you have to be happy, positive all of the time. I think it just, in my opinion, it just means that, like, for me, it might be that I can let myself wallow for a little while, but then I get fed up of that, and there'll be something that comes through that will go, right, okay, come on, enough now, let's move on. So that's and sometimes I need a bit of a shove from someone.
Well, I tell you what, you're human, which actually is very reassuring, because if you were always upbeat, then there'd be something very strange, I think, wouldn't there, going on? We were all going to have that happen for us. I want to know what your business why is, Janine, because to be in a business with your husband, there's a lot of commitment all around all of the things you've talked about so far. There's got to be probably, I would say, a deeper why as to why you do what you do. What do you want to share with us?
It probably sounds a bit, I don't know if this sounds a bit naff or a bit cliche, I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to edit it out if you think it sounds naff, because I might like it.
You'll get me a t-shirt with it.
Yeah.
I just really love it when I know that we've been able to help someone else grow in some way. So regardless of what the business is, and I guess this is where this is likely where the coaching and the therapy side comes in as well. But to me, yes, it's brilliant when I can see that we've been able to, line a business up with another business, and that there could be a lot of opportunity there for them. But it's that I love. It's the difference that can make for that business. You know, to me, it's not just, you know, all right, a person, there we go, you know, hand you over. It's the potential that could bring to the growth of someone else's business or charity or organisation, whatever it might be. That's the business why.
Yeah.
And I guess personally, it is being able to make my own decisions.
Yeah.
They might not always be right, but it is that freedom to know that, you know, I'm only reporting to me, and I can, in reason, do it when I want and where I want. That feels very special.
It is special, and also the freedom piece is really important when you think about the roles you're running in your life as mum and as wife and as director. You know, you do need that element of being able to have that freedom so that does work in the right way. So I totally get that. You've just made me inspired to do a post on LinkedIn about what type of boss are you to yourself, because I'm a terrible boss. I'm a slave driver. I'm never satisfied. I expect me to work overtime every single night.
I think your boss has been chatting to my boss, because mine does a lot of that as well. It's not good enough.
So just kind of to sort of bring this to a close, which I always feel sad about because I love my guests and I could talk forever, as you know. But how do you help your clients? Let's go into a little bit more detail about what it is. If I come to you, Janine, what is it that you're going to help me with?
So ultimately, we will be helping you to create more opportunities for your business. We will be helping you to really showcase your brand, what you're about, and we will be finding targeted leads for you, or showing you exactly how to do that in a very, I guess, to use your words, human to human way.
Yeah, definitely. And you talked about Jamie having the kind of marketing background. So does he put together things like the creative side of stuff? Is that how it works for you too?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we work on together. I mean, I would say that he leads more so on the, you know, the business development side. I would say that he leads more so on than myself, and I lead more on the day-to-day account management, looking after our clients, training people, that kind of thing. He's your kind of strategy, ideas, and I'm your right. Let's take that and get it into the day-to-day. This is how it works in practice. He's certainly got that kind of bigger picture, creative eye I don't necessarily have.
It's a great partnership, actually, if you've both got that skill set, and then that together is really good. I think it sounds great, doesn't it?
It works well. The one downside is that there isn't a boss in this business that is nice, that does tell you to just, you know, call it a night. That person doesn't exist here.
Yeah. Who's your ideal client then? If you're out there actually really, who do you love working with?
It's less about the actual business or organisation. In fact, I think we talked about this a little bit previously, and it's often more about the person or their approach or the way that they're doing things. I mean, for us, it's always great that the person that we're going to work with has got sales processes lined up, or that they will take on board how to manage a pipeline, that, you know, that you can't just send somebody a message and then Bob's your uncle, you've got a phone call. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't expect results, far from it, but that, you know, it is typically somebody who understands that, you know, building relationships over time are a really great way of working with somebody, and it's typically someone who's got a great product, service or offer to sell, and is really clear on who their ideal clients are and how they can help them. When someone has that, and they know exactly who they want to work with, they know that what they have is going to help them, and they are genuinely interested in building those relationships up and managing them, that's an ideal person for us.
Yeah, no, it sounds fair enough. So they could be potentially then an entrepreneur, you know, a solopreneur, or a business with a team either.
Yeah, they really could. I mean, we, you know, people that we work with, people that it's them in their business. And then, you know, going up from businesses of like 5,000 plus, it's really where we might work with one team, one sales and marketing team, one business development team. it's quite varied in terms of the size, and that will determine really like what our approach is.
So it's very consultative really then, isn't it? It's about actually what's the outcome I want, and then you kind of design the elements that potentially they're going to need to get that outcome, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think this is something that's become apparent, probably alludes a little bit to what you were saying about some of the pushy messaging and the pushy sales approaches that have been happening over the last few months, is that the couple of the most recent contracts that Jamie has secured, he has secured them based on the fact that he has been able to fully demonstrate that this is not necessarily a one-size-fits-all, that the way that this is going to work is by us truly understanding the organisation, their needs, their approach, their service, their clients, their customers, what's going on for them, against, well, no, this is how we do it, so you either do it this way or you don't. Yeah. And I think so in that way, I think yes, it is very consultative, because you do need to tap into all of that. You can't just, you can't just take yes, you could look at a template and whatever it might be, but you're always going to have to adapt and change it and work out how that's going to work, for you and your business and your clients. So that's the important thing for us. It's not a one size fits all.
No, it's a perfect approach by the sounds of it to me, because it's how I work as well. Because we are all so unique, not just as people, but that's then why your business looks unique and feels memorable, because of the people in it, So I'm all a big people fan, me, So
yeah, me too. Also because I'm so nosy. So
we call this curiosity. Where do you hang out if we want to connect with you, Janine?
LinkedIn is certainly the place to find me. And then capaldimarketing.com.
What do you want to leave us with, my lovely Janine?
This is the thing I've been mulling over for months and months now, on the constant churn of our day of, work, kids, bed, work, kids, bed. I think it is just a reminder that you can only do that for so long, and the value that there is in the space that you can create for yourself. So even if it is only a 20-minute walk, even if it is, a 15-minute kind of jotting something down, or maybe it is a whole day that like you do for your me time, I just think that is so important and underrated, especially right now. So I guess it's just it's a thought and a wish that everybody will allow themselves that, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect thought for the day. Book that me time in your diary, just like I've started to do. But actually, don't move it for anyone, by the way.
No.
Just a tip. I book it in and I'll just squeeze that one in there. And that's it then. The day is no longer mine, obviously. Then I'll book someone else in. No, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to finish off with, and very, very important right now. Actually, it's always been important, but I think maybe we've realised it more with everything we've been going through. So thank you so much. Janine, I have loved our human conversation. I knew I would. But it's been really insightful. Listeners, I hope that you've enjoyed it. I think it's been lovely to talk to someone who's really wearing all those hats, and realising maybe, some great ways to think of it and cope with it. And the fact that you can do it, you still can be a mum and a wife and a director of a successful business. So thank you for that inspiration, Janine. And listeners, please do like and subscribe on whatever channel you've listened to us on. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher and SoundCloud. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, Janine.
No worries. It's been lovely. Thanks, Jules.
And we will see you all again on The Human Conversation. Ta-ta for now.
You've just been listening to the Human Conversation podcast with Jules White. To find out more about the other work that Jules does, please visit her website, www.liveitloveitsellit.co.uk. And if you enjoyed the podcast, then please do leave a rating and review on the platform you use to enjoy her show. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.